Hello, readers and writers. I am Anthony L. Manna, otherwise known as Professor Grandpa Tonio, the book guy and the writing guy. And I am here today to share with you on a very happy occasion for me because I love sharing my book. My newest book is Loukas and the Game of Chance, illustrated by Donald Babish, written by Anthony L. Manna. And it's a joy to be here with you, to be sharing this part of the story. This is my 4th episode. I hope that you'll catch up with me by looking for the first 3 episodes, because in the last one you found Loukas as an older, maybe 18 years old, had just lost all of his money and his family at a card game, a game of chance. He rushes out of the cafe, away from the really very cruel merchant to whom he lost it all. He's on the road, and he's crying out, and he says, before God, the saints, and the sacred spirits that rule the earth, I vow to free my family from the curse my madness has inflicted on us all. He cried out in anguish. At that very moment, he recalled a legend that told of islanders going in search of destiny to seek release from the suffering fate had handed them to test their will to survive. Like those islanders, he must gather his courage and go off to find destiny somewhere deep within the island forest, where she lived with her son Ilion, the sun, and her daughter Luna, the moon. He would plead with destiny for the right to salvage his honor, his fortune, and please, 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 he begged, his enslaved family's freedom. Just as twilight began spreading its melancholy glow over the island, Loukas stood at a fork in the road. He was pondering which direction he should take to find destiny when he caught sight of a curious cart. It was parked near the path that led into the forest. From a distance, Loukas could see the cart was made of roughly hewn, crooked branches, potted plants, and an old barrel and trunk took up most of its bed. A wooden rake, a broom, and a shovel, each with a knobby handle, were tied to a wooden slat attached to one side of the cart. The cart was painted in dark red, blue, yellow, and purple. The bright colors reminded Loukas of carts he'd seen in carnivals and festivals throughout the island. Loukas moved cautiously toward the cart to get a better view of it. A few steps later, he spotted a leather banner spread across a branch above the rear of the cart. A smile spread across Loukas' face as he made out the words on the banner. "Keeper of the forest," he read, and bobbed his head, amused. At once, memories of Keeper of the Forest rushed through his thoughts. Keeper was the brave character in age-old stories that had enchanted Loukas throughout his childhood. In an instant, Loukas pictured Keeper setting off on yet another exciting mission in the island's northern forest. Keeper was an adventurer who was known for roaming the forest to fend off wicked creatures and spirits. Keeper could also be counted on to come up with the best plans for settling conflicts among forest animals and for helping to keep the forest fertile. And now, Loukas stood next to a cart claimed by the very character he had come to idolize. Loukas smiled. His smile widened. Could his fearless childhood hero be real? Flesh and blood real? A high-pitched voice startled Loukas out of his musing. He struggled to understand the speaker's peculiar drawl. "Hey-ya! Ho! You there!" the voice called from within a stand of poplars. "On this road forsaken thou art travelling. From whom or what all do thou flee? These forsaken road, where even the seabirds rarely fly, thou boldly walk on by." "Honorable one, I mean no harm and bear no evil," Loukas stammered while he surveyed the poplars. "Hey-ya-ho! Look-ye thou up and up." "Ooh, up and up!" the voice squealed. Hee, keeper of the forest plants, keeper of the forest souls, keeper of the forest knows all. Hee, look-ye up, oh. Loukas shrieked with delight. Keeper lives, Keeper is real, Keeper's stories are true. Loukas stepped closer to the poplars and gazed upward, trembling. He moved wide-eyed from tree to tree in the deepening dusk. His heart thumped hard on his chest. Keeper's whistling drew Loukas to one of the tallest trees. He steadied himself against the trunk and slowly gazed upward. As Keeper's figure came into focus, Loukas let out a muffled cry. "Oh my! Oh my!" Loukas exclaimed, once Keeper's image cleared. Keeper stood on a thick branch and whistled a string of high and low pitches. Up above his head, Keeper held an odd, double-tiered umbrella mounted on a narrow pole. The umbrella's large open canopy topped the pole. Directly under that canopy, there was a smaller canopy. It also was open. The ribs that supported both canopies were thin metal pipes. Puffs of colored smoke erupted from the pipes in rapid spurts. Poofs, 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 sounded the smoke at its release. At the end of each pipe, there hung a tassel with a large bell attached to it. The bells rang when the canopies took to spinning. The top canopy clockwise, the bottom one counterclockwise. For both, it was a wobbly ride. The spinner stopped abruptly. Keeper made a piercing whistle sound. At once, a volley of belches, hiccups, squeaks, hoots, and squawks came from somewhere inside the umbrella. "Hee, Keeper sang. Like a high-wire performer, he teetered forward a few steps on the branch, stopped, and staggered backward. He soon came to a shaky pause, stepped off the branch, and floated gently downward, whistling. He landed in a clearing a few feet from Loukas. Keeper looked just like the character Loukas had imagined many years ago in stories told of Keeper's daring deeds. Indeed, Keeper was the same earthy character in tales Loukas and Thera now enjoyed telling Sophie and Petros, their own children. Keeper was muscular and squat. His skin was the color of spring fern, and he had very large hands and feet from which sprouted weeds and grasses. A patch of moss covered Keeper's head. Out of the moss grew berries, buds, and blossoms. Keeper wore clothes styled with wide horizontal stripes in shades of leaf greens, earth browns, and sunlight yellows. Leafy vines trailed out from underneath a loose-fitting jacket and pants. "Why art thou bound?" drawled Keeper. "Venerable Keeper, I have taken to this road in search of destiny. Now that my foolishness has brought me down, it is her wisdom I am seeking to show me how to mend my broken heart and turn my ruined life around." Oh, destiny, destiny, Keeper cried. "Oh, her favor, not so easily gained. Mortal upon mortal have passed these way, desperate for destiny's cure," continued Keeper. "Just as many have returned more and more wretched than when they set out. Crestfallen were they, having failed to receive destiny's guidance to change the course of their tormented lives." Keeper drew closer to Loukas and with deep-set eyes studied Lucas's expression. The adventurer knew at once that no warning could ever dampen this mortal's desire to find destiny and plead with her to free him from his misery. "To gain destiny's patronage, thy request must first be judged worthy to her son Ilion, and her daughter Luna, the moon," Keeper confided, while moving with inches of Lucas's stunned face. "Only then will a decision be made if thy fate deserves the attention thou crave. Oh, said Keeper, sighing. Keeper warned Loukas that he must tread cautiously if he should ever come into the company of Destiny, Luna, and Ilion. "But why, honored Keeper?" asked Loukas. "Ah, young man, many are the tales Highland folk tell of Ilion's unpredictable mood when he returns to the palace from his daily rounds at day's end, Keeper said. If son returns troubled by what has happened among the mortals that day, you had better beware. Son might just as easily consume thee with a hellish fire, then urge his mother to take notice of thy petition, Keeper predicted. As for Luna, cautioned Keeper, if she becomes troubled from witnessing the mortals immersed in strife, her wrath could force her to bewitch thee with a horrifying spell. Woe! 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 That said, Keeper pointed his umbrella toward the forest and directed Loukas to follow the path northward. Well into his travels, Keeper told Loukas, he would come to a radiant palace where Destiny and her son and daughter have lived since the beginning of earthly time. And so, readers and writers, Loukas' journey begins into the enchanted forest. We'll take it up soon, and we'll see how he fares as he moves through the enchanted forest. Who will he meet there? Will he ever get to Destiny's sun and moon? Fare thee well, and I'll see you the next time. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.